Welcome to the Schwab Academy. The mission of the Schwab Academy is to prepare people for the tremendous changes which will be caused by the transformation from the industrial to the intelligent age. The intelligent age is based on a combination of many life-changing technologies. Of course, artificial intelligence, but there is also quantum computing and many other technologies which will have a tremendous impact on how we live, how we communicate, and we have to prepare for those changes now. I started first with the book Thriving and Leading in the Intelligent Age to provide a kind of introduction, and now I'm looking at specific areas where I can help people to understand what's coming up and to prepare for it.
Somebody asked me to describe Canadian. Imagine the government comes onto the news and tells you to eat dog shit. Like, don't use bags anymore, just incorporate dog shit and cat shit into your diet. And then the CBC runs a news article about how amazing dog shit is. And then Vancouver and Montreal open up a restaurant called Poutine. And then a bunch of people go online filming themselves eat cat shit. And then if you question the narrative, you get called a racist, a homophobe, anti-science, whatever, you know, anti-blah, blah, blah, you know all the names that we get called. And then you question your own sanity because you're literally living in an open-air insane asylum with a bunch of crazies run by lunatics called the Canadian government. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's like being Canadian.
My thoughts on that video, yeah, I mean, you know, the only thing I would add to it is that the commercials that you're fed about the dog poop and cat poop are usually by like two East Indians or like an Asian and a black couple or a lesbian couple or gay couple or whatever, the, you know, like gay guy, a lesbian girl, one's Asian, one's black, you know, that's really what we get fed to that. But the concept of the open air insane asylum is pretty dead on, you know, like we try to do our best here in Canada. You know, if you're somewhat based, I mean, you live on the fringe and there's no one really, you know, there's no one to talk to really. So the majority of the insane asylum is filled with, you know, I'd say kind of like the boomer class, but then there's the woke generation coming up. You know, they were born and bred with helicopter parents telling them that everything they did was great. And so when they do lose, they have fits. You've seen it, you know, you see them everywhere. Like so, for instance, Duke is in jiu-jitsu, and that's like the last little bastion of where the kid, it's binary, win or lose, right? And that doesn't happen anymore. So yeah, it's getting pretty crazy up here in Canada. I wouldn't recommend moving here. I know a lot of people say, I'm moving out of the States. I'm going to go to Canada, and I think you said that, right? Yeah, I would highly suggest you don't, for your own good and your family's good. Just stay in the States. You know, you got a standing army with guns, right? Are you a gun owner? No? You don't look like a gun owner, really. If we take a look at these charts here, we can see that we had what some legacy analysts call a little pump. You know, we were in the low 80s yesterday morning, and now we're in the mid-high 80s. We peaked out right above the 50 moving average at 89.2. We were thinking 90K. Ooh, 90K is getting pretty juicy. Are we going to get over it? I was just imagining all the posts on X. 90K, we're back. We got rejected. And now we're getting a little bit of bounce on the 20 moving average. Now we have these moving averages converging into their dance of dominance, like a couple of snakes mating in the financial jungle. Now, if we go back to this is why, I mean, it might not be something, but it sure ain't nothing with this 20 moving average getting over the 50 moving average. You know, it's not the craziest bullish reaction, but generally things look better when the 20's over the 50. So for instance, the last time we saw that was basically up here. We are at 107. We saw the 20 just for a brief shining glimmer of hope. Got over the 50, and generally in an upward trend, we're going to see the 20 moving average over the 50. So it's kind of indicative of where we are. That seen as though we're under the 50, it's not that bullish. I mean, if it feels bullish to you, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Well, discuss it. But if we go back even further in time, you can see up here when we hit 116, we had gotten over the 50 moving average, and we were riding high, right? And then, of course, once we get under it, it's a lagging indicator. It's going to tell you what you already know. But then we go back to all-time highs, 126K. That's when we were riding the light fandango over the 50 moving average. So it is a bullish metric. Now, however, we're not there yet. You can see we're still under it. But it looks like the trend's moving up. Now, if we were to see, let's go back here. In a down day, this is kind of like a nothing week, I think, with U.S. Thanksgiving. We know everyone's basically traveling now. That's what they say. Everyone's on a plane. No one's really trading. Like those people make up the majority of traders, right? But the sentiment is that there's nothing really happening. So I would expect, so we're not in a bullish fervor, to drift underneath the 20 moving average. Not really tank. Although, historically in this bull run, low volume has been like excellent for the dumpers, right? Oh, nobody's trading. There's low volume. Perfect. I'm going to dump on the exchange. I don't care about slippage. I'm just going to dump the price on the exchange. So you got to be careful for that, because that could happen, because these psychopaths, they're only OTC when they buy. When they sell, they splash that exchange. Boyakasha. Slippage and all. So I would expect, with minus the massive dumping, just drift down here, maybe test this channel of descension's resistance, now acting as support down at the 84-ish level. You can see here there's a lot of highway traffic here. It gets congested on the old 401 right around here at this 84-ish K, and then maybe get a bounce, into Wednesday. And like Thursday, we're really looking at, isn't Friday a half day too? It's not a full day. If you can go ahead and stop trading at 12:30, that'd be great. Yeah, it's just a half day on Friday. And if you want, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt, because we're having a little bit of a leisurely Friday half day Hawaiian shirt. So if you can go ahead and do that, that'd be great. Thanks. Session disconnected. What the hell's going on here? I think that's a new thing with TradingView. However, now I'm going to do this regardless of the comments, because I'm doing it for me. And generally, that's the best way to go about a project. You have a need, you create the answer. So my answer is, because in the basement, I've been doing kind of my work/research on the couch. I like to move stations. When I get a little bit creatively stagnant, I'll move stations. So, for 6 months, I was up on the dining room table. A little bit hectic, because there's a lot of traffic there on the dining room table, right? No one really thinks I'm doing anything, right? Everyone thinks I'm just, scrolling, doom scrolling, right? I'm doing research, goddammit, research. Anyway, I moved it downstairs, and there's a TV that is there that I don't really use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to live stream a 24-hour, 4-hour chart, Bitcoin chart. So it'll basically be this, just live streamed. It's not going to, but you'll have the price, so that you can't really see the price here. But you'll have the 4-hour chart, just so if you're at home and you're a psychopath like me, you can turn on the TV and just see the 4-hour chart on your big TV. To piss off your wife that you're going to lose in the bear market, right? It's like, it'll be in counseling. The wife will be like, well, I was willing to put up with a lot of things during this, this bull run he kept on saying was going to happen that never really did. But when he converted our 58-inch TV to a 24-hour, 4-hour Bitcoin chart, that was it. That's when I left. So I will do it for myself, to have it on my basement TV so I can just see it. I don't want to go back. I Control-Alt to go through my my apps. I can't do that. I don't have time. I don't have that 1 second time to check the price. I just like it there, so I can see if there's any explosive moves, when and if, those 12 days a year where we have. Terry Crow, yeah, you need to have some good background music. So yeah, there's another angle there. I was going to put into everything that's not. No, that doesn't make. You know, I was going to say everything that's not in a publisher, which is only volume and the children's album. But I don't really care if if it gets X'd copyright for my own stuff for publishers, right? So it doesn't really, it won't affect it because it's not really like a channel, or it's not really like a video that's going to do massively well. It's just if you want to put it on your TV, like I do, it'll be there. But yeah, I'll put on all. I guess that's the Trojan horse, maybe subconsciously. You know, the egotistical artist, that's really almost like the parasite in me. It's like, put on a 4-hour chart and then put the music that you wrote in the background. What? Nothing. And then I do it. Yeah, so I'll put all the originals. I was just going to put volume because it's not published. But the Leaderhouse, everything else went through CD Baby. Actually, the children's album is through CD Baby as well, because there are the aggregators that will, you know, throw it to all the streaming services. I probably won't do that in the future, when and if I ever do the crypto album again. I'll just self-publish. I don't care about the. I'd rather have it free flowing on YouTube than getting a copyright, because I do believe that they diminish the reach if there's copyright stuff, even with music. Yesterday's video got a copyright strike, even though at the end there, when I try to make it very dramatic, and it ends, that little sound, even though I got it from what's called clear claim through Envato, right? Pay it subscription to Envato. They have all these, you know, sound effects and stuff. That one got triggered. So now I'm in a dispute with YouTube, and guess what? I'll probably lose because there's no one I can talk to, even though I got the license. You know, when you pay the membership, you get a license for all the music, but they just did it. Yeah, so, you know, that's how that goes. Did we lose 87 too? Yeah, 86.9. Yeah, so retesting this 20 moving average will be to be expected, but I like it. I like the fact that these moving averages are converging. You know, we're going to, it's usually indicative of a big move, right? But we can see, I might, you know, as soon as Thursday comes, might just that be it for the videos for the week. Because of, you know, with low volume, it's also low engagement. No one's really here. Everyone's, you know, at Aunt Beatrice's house eating pumpkin pie or whatever they do. You can see here, this is very indicative of what's happening in the market here. Nothing. But if we want to make a mountain out of molehill, a bullish mountain out of molehill, we would see this as a rounding bottom. Throw a little experimental wick at the party. Hey guys, are we selling? No? Okay. And then we get up again. That's what those wicks are. They're uncomfortable social moments at parties when you think you're in with the cool crowd. Hey, we're selling, right? Right, guys? No? Okay. I'll buy too. And then we get a little bit of a pump. But until we're back into this channel of descension, which is right at the 23.6% fib at about 90K. Yeah, you can see how the headwinds are basically all the same. 23.6% fib, channel of descensions, support now acting as resistance, plus the psychological number of 90. Once we're into the 90s, you know, we're closer to the bull market rejection zone of 98K, right? So it'll be interesting when that happens, because I do believe we'll have a relief rally sometime between now and in December. I mean, we only got about a month where we will potentially test this 98K. And that will be the real difference between, are we in this, is the cycle broken, or are we moving into new metrics that we can then massage into our own narrative, you know, because that's what we see a lot of happening. We'll just change it to fit our delusion. And now no one knows that more than an artist, a musician. We spend our whole lives massaging things into our narrative. This is why this didn't happen. This is why this is going to happen. Then it doesn't happen, and you're like, well, this is why it didn't happen. Because we don't know. We're just human beings. We don't know what we don't know. That's the worst part. We don't even know what we don't know. Where's the fear? What is the fear and greed index at 0? Wouldn't surprise me. Refresh. It's broken. Let me check the other fear and greed. It was 11 last time I checked. Now it's 20. So this is the alternative.me fear and greed index. The one on CoinMarketCap, that seems to be busted, which is a perfect representation of the sentiment in the market, right? The fear and greed index isn't even getting out of bed. It's just looking at the market going, no, back to bed. Under 3 trillion. A little bit depressing to be under 3 trillion. If you want the cleanest signal, check Matty. No slop. Well, here's one thing, Mr. Dinkles 144, that I've come to accept being in the YouTube sphere, knowing other creators, and knowing the grift, is that absolutely nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. If they did, they wouldn't be on YouTube sharing their knowledge. Now, do they have, like, even with my takes, arguably the most accurate doodle game in YouTube, underrated. It's still wrong, and it's still just an average win ratio that's higher than most, because I care not for bulls nor bears. So I'm just, telling how it is. But from Raoul Paul to Check Matty, to Tony Pomps, to everyone, they're all salesmen really at the end of the day. Because if you get deep enough into anyone's video, you'll get the affiliate link, or you'll get the book, you'll get the reason why the storefront is there. It's usually to sell something. And that's fine. That's fine. If you provide good information, you have something to sell, all great. However, the information generally is just, it's like my history with poker players. I mean, they're all liars. Every poker player I've ever met, close friends, have all been liars, because they put this blanket over their losses and then they celebrate these massive wins, right? The only semi-successful poker player I ever met was my buddy, who was a actuary. And now I still think he lies too, right? It's just we cherry pick certain things. But I would say he was the best because he lied the least, right? So maybe now we can go and judge your favorite creator by how little they lie. And to be fair, I believe everything they say they believe. I don't think they're lying. I think just sometimes you get caught up in the weeds of, your metrics, where they're like, so Check Matty, he's a real on-chain type of data metric guy, right? But on-chain has changed since last a bull market. The same way that the shuffle deck in casinos changed card counting. So before you could card count very easily because they didn't cut the deck. So when they had that 6 deck and they gave the card to the guy who's gambling away his grandchildren's inheritance, he grabs it and he cuts the deck, in half, but he's basically changing the course of the odds by cutting the deck. And so with OTC being the massive on-chain metric, if it were, that's behind closed doors. That's like cutting the deck of that 6-deck blackjack and then saying, oh no, everything's still the same. I'm still looking at this on-chain data. However, there's all this OTC action that's not really aggregating and correlating. So everyone's numbers are off. So although I like to gather as much information as I can, I'm a little bit of an information junkie, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. The best way for me, being a born contrarian, is to just ask yourself, what side of the boat are you on? Are you on the sis boom ba rah rah, we are going to the moon like everyone else? Not now, but this is where this example is perfect. Maybe I'll, explain it this way. You see, when you're on the side of the boat where everyone's thinking the same way you are, that's not how the markets work, because the markets don't want to, well, you know this, right? I'm preaching to the choir. When everyone's thinking one thing, obviously the market will do the opposite to wreck everybody. It doesn't want to move forward with all these people on board, right, and making them right. If it was that easy, everyone would be rich. That's why even as wealthy as some of these creators are with their affiliate links, they're still mostly wrong because they're riding the hype. That's why you'll see everyone start promoting 250K, 1 million K, all these things, because they're just on the wrong side of the boat. But being on the opposite side of the boat is where you feel the most uncomfortable. You say, well, am I wrong? How can I be this? And it's just a simple metric, right? You want to go with max pain. You want to, wherever max pain is, that's probably where the price is going to be. And now generally it's max pain is for the bulls because the bulls are making the most money. But every now and then max pain is for the sellers as well. So that's where the price will go. So you have to always be prepared to fight the urge to be on the right side of the boat where everyone is, right? Where you could almost call them the financial sheep are, right? That are about to get slaughtered. You want to be on the side of the boat where almost nobody is and you're crazy. And that's probably a good place to be. And I would say right about now, we're almost in the we're in the lounge of that boat. We're not really, for me anyway, I'm not on the right side where everyone is. I'm not really on the left side where everybody is. I'm just having a drink here and riding out the waves as we kind of hit Mazatlan and then regroup. It's a long-winded way of trying to explain how I think, but that's a little bit how I make all my decisions in life, because it's just basically representation of the pendulum, right? And we get swept up in the pendulum because it's fun. It's fun to be on the side of the boat that everyone is. It's comfortable. It's where the party is, right? The party isn't on the other side where I spend most of my life. The other side of the boat where nobody is and everyone's looking at it going, look at the losers on that side of the boat. That's where I usually spend most of my time.
Make sure you like and subscribe.